Welcome back to Tales of Yuvard. We are a Mythcraft TTRPG podcast, and today we're not recording our first campaign, The Sea's Tale. Today we are recording an episode of Tales of Tales, a podcast about the podcast. With me today, I am joined by Joey.
Hey, what's going on, guys? I'm Joey, and normally I'd be playing Usuri and Larissa.
Adam.
Hi, I'm Adam, and I normally play Goron and or Dogen.
And last but not least, we got Cobi with us.
Hey, it's Cobi, and today I will not be playing Les or Smith.
Hey guys, Badger here. Just wanted to give a shout out for our very first sponsor, Baron of Dice. Baron of Dice is your one-stop shop for premium wargaming and fantasy dice. All their dice are hand-mixed with premium resin and colored dyes, then poured into a silicone mold before being laser engraved with one of many wicked symbols, and lastly finished in a matte or gloss polish to achieve a near-perfect result every time. With these dice, there are no balancing issues, micro bubbles, or mold lines, and I can tell you firsthand because I own several sets, that you can literally feel and hear the difference with their dice. Now whether it's war games or TTRPGs, whatever your team may be, they're ready to elevate your game.
All right, and normally when we do this, we gather some fan questions, and I've compiled a list along with a few of my own questions I have for you all. And we did get a couple really good ones, and ones that I can't wait to see your answers about. Pretty much, I'm going to ask the question, and then we'll talk about it. I have answers for some of them. You guys will have more answers for others. But yeah, so the first one that we got was, what was the biggest twist in the show for you all so far?
I think Bart actually summoning a demon. I was expecting him to be an ass, and like a piece of shit, because of course. But I didn't think that they were actually working with literal demons. I was honestly surprised about that.
Personally, though, I would say I think the biggest twist was Usuri's quick alliance with the bear. I forget his name.
Mason?
Oh yeah, Mason. That whole thing, I did not. From the Les was very sketchy of that. Les was very sketchy of that, the same way Cobi was. So that being as nice and smooth as it was, still think I'm a little sketchy of that. So I think that's kind of the biggest twist for me.
For what it's worth, Usuri is still sketchy about it. But Usuri did achieve what he wanted to the whole time. He wanted to alliance with Mason the whole time, and it worked out that way.
I know Les is gonna hear about it.
Now, whether or not there's there's complications that come from that later, knowing Koree and the brain cell we share. Yes,
Probably.
As far as my biggest twist, honestly, the biggest like oh crap moment was at the bar with all the rabbit folk.
Yes, that one, absolutely.
Because none of us realized it.
It took so long
until we all realized it, and we're in the thick of it, and then we look around and we're like, oh no.
Oh, we gotta go now.
Obviously, that was so great because it was like the way all of us reacted in person. I feel like I could see each one of our characters and our faces in that moment on those video cams, because we were all just like, oh fuck.
Yeah, and then of course you make the kid go up to Jesse, and as soon as you made him go to Jesse, I'm like, we're fucked. We're absolutely fucked. Like my hand was like my face in my hands, like I'm waiting for this to go bad, and it almost did. If we didn't put Zephyr in check, he would have like spewed some nonsense, which is not really nonsense.
Yeah,
and that would have gone very different.
Honestly, that was one of a few times that I really wish we recorded video because just like watching you all go from, oh, this is a nice place, to, oh, there's a lot of people here, to, oh, these guys are windwalkers, to, oh, fuck, this is his place.
Yeah. Oh,
This
we
is-
killed the owner. Okay.
Also, not that this was really a twist, too, but I guess it kind of was. The whole interaction with the mayor on Monster,
Oh yeah.
with Calico and Usuri and Zephyr, like that whole interaction. I still tell people about that interaction, and like
That was good.
that was great RP, and from both of us and Koree with all the characters, and yeah, that was. But man, was I like, if we do or say the wrong thing, we're SOL.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Ugh. Truly one of the, I think the only time I've seen cold blood murder in a tabletop RPG.
It's the first. I've played TTRPGs for 5 years now. That is the first time I've ever cold blood murdered an NPC, and I'm not sorry about it.
He had it coming.
Was
He
it a
did.
cold blood murder or was it a hired assassination?
There's no difference.
I don't like that you put that in my brain now, because that's called justification.
I mean,
Is it assassination if you get paid for it after with no contract prior?
there was kind of a verbal agreement before you killed him. I mean, for the most part, most of the bounties on Monster were dead or alive, except for Belle.
Yeah.
which we
Which we didn't really do anyway.
No.
could
Someone
have
just-
we could have pursued the reward for that, because we did in fact get her back to her dad as requested by Papa Yoda.
Yeah, I think Goran got her to go home.
Mhm.
But yeah.
Despise her. She's like my least favorite NPC of.
Really?
I have straight beef with that woman.
All because she ran you over.
She was such a douche about it. She couldn't have been less caring about running a random person over.
That's fair.
You literally had people throw you in a jail cell, and
She's the one you hate the most.
she's the one you
like
hate the most.
20 guards.
no.
I put paper through that dude like they were like I deserved that.
No, I will grant you, like, Goran and Zephyr pulled her out of that basement, so the dude wouldn't kill her, and then she just full dumps her family issues on us. That was wild.
Low key though, most teenagers though, that's just some teenager shit. I was a trauma dumper for sure in my teenage years. I didn't understand. That's how I
Oh.
communicated.
And that was kind of like the headspace I was going with her.
Yeah.
And like, it would have been very interesting to have her on the crew because there would have been some different interactions as well between her and Luna.
Everybody else did horribly on the rolls, and if I remember right, I didn't even bother.
I believe so because it was charisma based, and
Goran is a lot of things, but charismatic is not one of them. Neither is Dogen. I don't play charismatic characters.
and yet they always come across as slightly charismatic. No matter,
I mean-
even if you don't build them that way.
That's
Well-
just Adam. He can't help it.
No. Goran is just an honest, good boy, and Dogen is Dogen.
So, talking about Dogen, one of the questions that we got was, were there always plans for new characters, or did that just come about because Zephyr got away?
Corey, that's a question for you to answer.
I will bring you back to when we got done recording that episode. I looked at all of you and went, there's two ways we can do this. Either
That's right.
we can make new characters and have a second batch of characters, or we can figure out how Zephyr tries to infiltrate the
That's right.
prison.
Yeah, and we all want
And
second
we
characters.
it was overwhelming. You all wanted second character.
my second ever character in Mythcraft.
So my big thing with that and why I was immediately like, yes, let me make a second character. So one of the live tables I played at for 3 years, most of which was one character, I always got an itch to play a new character. I never wanted to, like just off my one character. Like I always would have just played a second character. But the DM was like, no, we can't really introduce a second character. Plus it'd make combat longer, et cetera, which
I absolutely love the concept of 2 characters. It makes me very happy.
It's fun. I like it.
I just agree with Joey with like getting tired, not like tired of one character, but you always want to try something else. Because like, it's as much as I love Mythcraft and building Les's character, I also want to punch shit sometimes and hit stuff. Like I need Les to die if I want to punch something. Like I just want to get a chance to punch stuff here and there, or in this case, smash it.
And all of you did something that I didn't necessarily ask for you to do, but I love the fact that you did it. You grabbed almost what was the exact opposite of the character that you had.
I was going to say that. I was going to say playing Goron for a while and then switching to Dogen, who is essentially his opposite, was very fun for me. Being able to sort of flex different muscles there. Not just mechanically, but even like character-wise. Like, Dogen is so different from Goron. It's a lot of fun.
I think all our characters are vastly different. I did that by design too, just because I went from, I specifically used Larissa as a catalyst to create my first magic user character for Mythcraft, which is obviously the complete opposite of Usuri anyways, because when making Usuri, I just went the easy route and went, I'm going to hit things really hard.
Yeah, I usually will go the martial route first. But I felt like it would be more fun for us, like when we were first talking about characters, to have a sort of like environment control caster. I wanted to mess around with the way the magic works in Mythcraft, and like I really liked what I had come up with for Goron as I was thinking about it. And then Dogen is, full disclosure, Dogen Lafite was started as a joke that I made that I thought was hilarious. And it's easy, and I love it, and Dogen is amazing.
Yeah, I think it's funny when I think of like why I built Les in the beginning, because it's really, the main thing is home games with Spaz and what happens when I get into close combat with him. It is, all my home games have been devastating when it comes to Spaz. He destroys me. I'm in death points every combat. So I was like, what can I do to not be in combat as much as possible and still be a great ally without being a straight caster? Because I didn't want to have to worry about straight casting. Like I wanted to buff stuff. So I was like, I could just I looked at Trevor, like I can make my team better, and also if something get close, I'm summoning something to get away. And doesn't always work when we find out there's a 10-minute time limit trying to get away, but it's there.
I love that, dude. I saw that coming from a mile away.
I
tried to help.
Continue charging down the list of questions that we have.
Yep.
What has been your favorite part of the show so far?
Oh, like a favorite moment?
Look, all right, so I'm going to preface this with whoever asked that question, it's a terrible question because it's such a good question, but I don't know how to answer it.
All of it, everything.
None of it. It was all horrible. It's been a nightmare the whole way. No.
They got me chained to the desk. I can't get away.
Coree's a slave driver.
God damn.
I will say Smith's favorite moment, sadly, is his master dying. That is gonna be a cataclysm for so much for his character, truthfully. Like Smith's backstory was pretty heavy, and I didn't really know how that was gonna go. And I think how it happened is really helping me figure that out. Thinking about it wise, it definitely kind of awoken his character. So for that, I love that. But when it comes to Les, it is still probably the bar scene, the crits in the bar. I think that is just that party scene has been the entire ride of this show has been that what that party scene felt like. Is just I've loved every minute of it, and that scene encapsulates that really well. Yeah, that's me. I'm answering through character eyes to make it easy.
I think as far as my favorite moment for Larissa, dude, as long as we've not played these characters, right? Because we really haven't played these characters.
It's not been that long. That's the problem.
Dude, I can't, like, I have three moments that I don't know what's the best. Getting the final thematic kill on Philly, having the demon done and over with, and boy, do I have some ideas for the future involving Larissa and that demon. Just saying. I have character abilities that I will gain. Boy, do I have some ideas for you. So, the demon being dead, getting the thematic kill from Philly. So, I think if I had to rank them, Demon dead is third, Philly is second, third is reviving Tyberos.
Mm-hmm.
The reason I say it's reviving Tyberos is because early on, when I attempted to make a magic class, I wanted to follow something similar to what Lesh does by being a summoner. I wanted to find a way to just have summons and use them. And out of all of the lineages, I couldn't find one that I really liked. I didn't find one that I clicked with until making Larissa, and I was like, okay, this is going to be a dark, nice, creepy background. Okay, hey, how does this, lineage work? Yeah, that lineage can work. We'll work with that. All right, cool, nice, dark, edgy, emo background. What about necromancy? And then so I asked Koree, I was like, hey, what can I do with some necromancy spells? And he was like, take this and then look at these spells here. And then I read the spell descriptions. So I'm like, okay, this is what I've been looking for. This is what I want. So being able to, part of that with Grifton, we've seen, and that plan is already coming into fruition. Being able to now revive Tyberos is only further extending that goal. Having Philly's body the way that I have Philly's body right now, which I definitely don't have plans for that immediately in the next episode, is only going to further my goal. Plus the book that we got in the last episode is only going to further my goal. So, that's why I'm going to go ahead and put Tyberos and the summoning of that back at the top, because it's only pushing my character development the way I want it to go. And then Usuri, I don't even know where to start. I'm gonna pass on over to Adam.
You're gonna have to pick one. I'll come back to you.
All right, so it's hard for Goron because there's been so many fun moments and stuff. His shift in the prison was very fun, and not something I really planned ahead of time. I just sort of we started recording. I'm like, you know what, Goron's just done. He's been trying to do the right thing and be a good person, and it seems to bite him in the butt every time. So he's not happy right now. So berating that Brunei was a lot of fun for me personally. But I don't know. There's not like those fun, but like I don't have a favorite moment really. I guess him sort of reflecting, because he had before that he had sort of, I think it was the end of Monster when he realized that what?
I thought you were going to talk about when you sent a letter home.
No, I mean that was fun. I liked doing that, but like for personal character growth, him sort of realizing that like this isn't going to work the way he was operating before, like being a good person and de-escalation and like peaceful resolution can only go so far. So him sort of like kind of understanding that a bit and accepting that some and taking on some of that darker power from Cordanta and getting into Weird Wood and some of those like occult spells was really cool. And he's still like, it's still him taking in suffering. He's still trying to help other people with it, right? It's not him reaching for power. It's okay, how do I use this thing to still try and make things better for other people? Right? Even at the cost of his own his own safety, because there's been a couple of times where he has pushed too far and it has caused him pain. But every time so far, he's just downplayed it and moved on as quickly as possible because that's just what he has to do. You know, like, but I don't know if I have a specific like moment that I think is my favorite with him.
Okay.
And with Dogen, it's sort of the opposite, where we haven't played them for a long time. So like there's some funny bits and stuff, but like there's not been really a resonating moment with him, I don't
Yeah.
think.
And I am gonna kind of stress that, right?
Yeah, no,
Like,
not yet. There's plenty of
Um,
time, and I have some idea. Getting into his history and stuff will be fun. I mean, sort of the way he views certain events in his life, and the way, because he's mentioned a couple of times his ex-wife, and like the way he sees that, and how he has sort of accepted what happened, will be fun to look at. I mean, he's fun, you know. Just walking in with that attitude of like, I don't know what's going on, and frankly, I don't care. I'm just gonna start punching.
And punching he does.
and now he'll do it even better with Spiked Gauntlet.
Hell yeah, dude! Those are gonna be so fun.
I'm gonna bounce around some of these questions a little bit.
Woo, we skipped Yuzuri.
No, Yusuri, come on.
You want me to give them now?
Yeah.
All right, so I've got two. Okay. They're both equal. I'm not picking one. They're both equal, and I've talked about them extensively before already, so this will be quick. It's the cold blood murder scene.
Yeah.
Because that's just a great moment
It's
for
such
me
a
as a
good
player and as a character.
Having-
And then the introduction of Luna and her first round of combat, first interaction in combat with Luna
That's
is
right.
tearing that dude's head off and chunking it across the battlefield.
Yes. Instantly proving that she is more effective than half our party.
Yeah. I'm not going to dwell on that, the whole fact, because if you listen to other Lesh's tales, we talk about that extensively.
Yeah,
But those two,
Her first shift was also a lot of fun for me, playing Goron, as being like
that was
helping
definitely
her
interesting.
while trying to keep everybody else cool and away was a lot of fun. Like, it's fine. We're gonna keep you in here and everything's gonna be fine. Hey guys, we're just gonna avoid this area. Don't worry about it. Don't ask questions.
Why does it sound like a tiger? Don't worry about it.
We have a cat.
That was such a fun. I just sit back in my chair and let you guys just go, because and it's probably one of my favorite things that I get to do, because I have 4 amazing players that every now and then I'll give you guys a scene that will just set 2 of you off, and I just sit back. 'Cause all 4 of you will get in on it, but if I can set 2 of you off, I just sit back. I'm good for like 10 minutes.
Just ignite that flame and let it
Yeah.
fucking burn, baby, burn.
Let it fucking burn.
That's
I love
right.
it, right? Like some of my favorite things, and I'll go quick. I love how tactically you guys play, but at the same time, fuck, it is a pain in the ass to MC for you guys. And I love
Or-
it. Like, understand, I love it
Dogen
because,
is very untactical.
and yet he still moves in to get flanking positions.
That's
He still uses all of his maneuvers when he gets a chance.
We
Right.
love a fucking high TA number. We love to get that number up there.
What's our max at? Like 12 right now? That's our high
I
score
believe our highest was 12.
with Zephyr.
So like all of my favorite moments actually fall under a different question, so I'll get to talking about that later.
Okay.
The next question I'm gonna ask, I'm gonna do 2 about the Lesh's Tale back to back. Cobi, what was the hardest part about running the game knowing that it was gonna be published?
That's a great question, huh?
Jesus. What was your biggest insecurity about it?
Literally. I think it's still my biggest insecurity in running just any tabletop RPG. So especially in a setting where I need it to be like very entertaining, it's just my combat. I know I can usually set a mood pretty well and like set the atmosphere for combat, but running combat itself is very hard for me to not get fumbled into trying to make sure the numbers are right, that I kind of lose the entertainment value of just like for my players. So going into for an even wider audience, I think the fear of having boring combat where everything else is cool and then you fight a monster and you lose all that sense of atmosphere and stuff, I definitely struggle with that. So I think that's my biggest fear.
For what it's worth, I think you did amazing.
Oh, absolutely.
Thank you.
I enjoyed that very much.
Oh yeah.
So the next one about the one shots directed for me, and it was Koree. What was it like being a player for that short stint? And I loved it. Honestly, we had such a we get shit done attitude. We did not care what was going on.
No defense,
I was
all
literally
offense.
walking forward, banging my chest, going dinner bell. You know.
Oh god.
I just finished listening to that today too.
Oh,
And boy howdy, is it such a good episode.
It was a lot of fun. It was so much fun to run.
I still don't like the voice I settled on for my character.
But even still, like, it came out really well. And I'm the same way, right? I like listening back to Vulcan, I did not have as deep of a voice as I wanted to. And I wanted to achieve a completely different voice.
And I mean, if you think about it too, even like before we got into Goron, our main crew, like we had a little less time for like the secondary crew to build a voice for these. But these characters was like, hey, it's Monday. We're gonna play on Friday. Here's an idea. Like, I think we all have to give ourselves props for that, for not only making you guys for making characters that knew each other well as like as the MC. I felt a character that I was like, hey, you guys have worked for a few missions together and you guys came together and had character that I felt like I've already played for a full campaign with the way they talked and interacted like that.
Yeah.
That was really great. So I think you guys all had amazing characters and it was awesome to run for them.
Thank you.
And I think in all fairness for that has a lot to do with the fact that it was an intergroup one shot and we're all used to working together anyways. Now, most of the time we're working against Koree, but at the same time, though,
You're also working with me, considering how many NPCs we had.
That's
exactly.
fair. Honestly,
Exactly.
that's fair.
So it felt really natural. Like us having worked for an adventuring guild and having formed a party together was literally so natural. And it's funny because the conversations we had, because spoiler, Cobi, we may or may not have created a chat that excludes you. We may or may not have a chat that excludes Koree. We pretty much came up with the idea of we're just fairy tale characters.
Yeah.
Like my character is extremely loosely based on Natsu Dragneel.
Oh my god, I can't believe I didn't see it.
I went Gajiel.
Oh, that's so
And dude, and now that you see it, you're like, oh my god.
He walked away from his character.
I went big slow.
I literally love fairy tale. My best friend has a fairy tale too. I'm
Oh,
so
that was
ashamed.
So funny.
Yeah, we
That's
literally
so
we were just
good.
fairy tale characters.
I'm gonna listen back to that with such a different view of it.
Son of a bitch.
Thinking about that, like, ignore the horrendous accent I did and just think big slow in your mind. Okay.
I love the accent.
The accent was phenomenal.
On top of the fact too that my character is named after a Primarch from 40K, and so is Adam's character. Ferris Manus and Vulcan, they're Primarchs.
Yep.
For the loyalist Space Marines.
My
Vulcan
40k
Carbonite.
lore is lacking.
I just wanted to get a little bit of future Yavard lore into the Lesh Tale. So I went, it's gonna be this for future reasons.
That's
Yeah, that
right.
was cool.
Which I don't want to spoil anything, so I'm just gonna not say anything else on that.
A little tidbit for our. Oh yeah, for
Yeah,
our
the
listeners,
connection
a little
is live.
tidbit.
Yeah, it's all live.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. Yep. And
As of last episode, I believe name was dropped and everything.
the last episode that involved the demon crew.
Yeah.
So you guys can go and figure it out. You got to listen to both episodes though, because we're not going to talk about it any further.
That's right.
And before we leave Lesh's tales real quick, it is not over. Just know that.
Boy, is it not over.
No,
I've already
it is
got my
not.
next
And there's
character
going to
set.
be a brainchild that is birthed, and I feel bad for you all.
You don't know what's coming to you, Cobi. If you do the thing that we've talked about, you don't know what's coming your way.
Still got to build for that. I do have the accent ready though.
Spaz has seen my bosses slowly getting stronger as I've been making them. You guys are not ready.
Well, I'm also helping with this one. So, like,
All right, hang on.
all right. So another one. What is a character dynamic that you didn't expect to happen? Like, what is a interaction or like a connection that you guys didn't expect to have?
I do have one.
I
Go
also
ahead.
have one. Inner party, the big brother, little brother bully relationship of Usuri and Lesh has become one of my absolute favorite fucking things of this show, truthfully.
Yep.
I thought there was gonna be a disconnect between them for sure, just because they're like who they are. Like I like admire obviously the weapon and all that stuff, but like I didn't know how they were gonna be outside of like combat and being like less like writing stories. But that like it's just been such a fun relationship. The bully, like big brother bully, like just stop, just come on.
Yep. Tying him up in a hammock, putting him in a headlock while he's hooded and can't see anything, and scaring the shit out of him.
Constantly muffling him from saying dumb shit. Like it's just it's so good.
Okay, so PC to PC, I did not see Goron and Zephyr. Their dynamic with magic is very funny to me because Goron learned and had to study, and it's bullshit that Zephyr can just do it because that's not fair. Because I had to go to school for that. I had to spend years learning that, and it's bullshit that he can just read a storybook and he can just do it, and that's not fair. But PC to NPC, actually, I think Goron and Luna's weird like friendship was very unexpected. Like I honestly was expecting her to like just sort of write him off as a squishy little like teddy bear, you know, and sort of like just dismiss him as an entity out of hand, and you know that's fine. But like, I think it was truly just because he noticed that she is a light, that she has lycanthropy, I think is what sort of triggered it.
It's definitely
But yeah, but like them having that like him like having her back with it and stuff was unexpected and very fun.
So for me, PC to PC is between two people. It's Usuri and Zephyr with the cold blood murder scene. So I'll just leave that there. That's such it's just a great moment in my RPG experience. And then the dynamic that has now developed between Usuri and Lesh, which I honestly, it was just kind of a spur of the moment thing for both times. Like I really didn't even think about doing it. I just thought they would be funny, so I just articulated that they happened, and they came out to be really funny. But I really like how there's been a relationship developed from it too. And then PC to NPC, by far, hands down, unequivocally, is the relationship that has developed between Usuri and Millie.
Yes.
And Matt.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
That was 100% not planned on my part at all. I don't know what Koree had going for that, or why, or when, but I have loved every moment of it.
Mm-hmm.
Every interaction.
Oh, good.
it's because it feel like because Yusuri doesn't have family anymore.
Yeah.
Right. And so now amongst building the family with the crew, he's quite literally building a parental style family. And I really I because Yusuri doesn't know how to show emotion, this is only going to be good for him.
Yeah.
Until Koree decides to be, an asshole about something, and then, Yusuri has to go on a citywide murdering spree to get his adopted children and back.
If I could throw in an NPC one into the ring while we're at it, it's also
No.
kind of including the clue. Okay, yeah, whatever. That's okay. No,
Absolutely.
but it also kind of includes the whole crew. I think it shows just the character growth, and with a really great moment was the violin battles and the relationship with the shopkeep.
Yes, that was fun.
My name is eluding me now because I'm horrible with names, but just the fact that it took everybody to get there and that crew of that was a very fun, the crew's first thing together like that. It was just really cool. I think that was a great moment to represent the bonding they made over the time in the island together.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that very much tells the Dice Tell Stories story, right? Because if I'm not mistaken, you had 2 interactions solo.
It was and then
I think 3.
Oh, I think it was 3 total.
I think
Yeah.
it's
there was
3 it was on the third
there
one.
was
Yes.
2 solo interactions, and you bombed both of them.
Yep.
And then the crew shows up, and you have full support, giving you no additional benefit, mind you.
Yeah, at all.
And then you nailed it.
Oh
Yes.
yeah.
And that so for me, that's just the Dice telling stories, because Lesh was meant to have his new family bonded crew there to watch him kick ass.
It was definitely one of my favorite moments, and replaying that in my head, I feel like I can see that scene of Lesh turning to the crew and just feel like he's back in the Grove playing for his family. That scene definitely resonates in my heart a lot.
Yeah. There's a couple I'm excited for with the B team.
Oh my god. It's gonna be so much fun.
I'm excited for the next little bit of dialogue that we're gonna have, because there's some lore stuff with Larissa that has to happen per mechanical character stuff, and I'm not going to say which NPC it is or which PC it is, but there's going to be a long drawn conversation that happens that ends up setting a very important precedence for Larissa's future.
Oh.
There's only one PC that I can think of that could possibly have anything to do with it, dude.
I guess you'll just have to stay tuned for that episode of Tales of Yavard.
Okay. So on the kind of upbeat, you'll have to find out later. I'm sorry for the person that asked this. I'm not even gonna let him give a full answer. I'm gonna read it, but Cobi, find a good way to deflect. Cobi,
Man.
what is it with Smith's thing about not allowing body shaming?
Because he's a good
have
person.
you seen
Next
his
question.
face?
Yeah, come on. I was, sometimes you're the bit of you comes into your characters, and I don't stand for that shit. And that's real life. But yeah, in character wise though, also just I was raised by a group of good people. We don't fuck around with that shit.
Man, I gotta make more serious lore connected characters.
I was not planning to with Smith in the beginning, truthfully. If you would go back to the original text of ideas, it was just
even with Goron though, it's he's just a guy.
No, he's not. Goron is a
that's-
lot more connected to the story than you
True.
initially thought.
True, but a lot of it still is more things that happened like to people around him than things that happened to him directly. Right? Like his
I mean,
mom.
True.
So
But
so
I-
I'm going to I want to step you back a little bit on that.
Yeah.
Yes, they are the things that happen to your family.
Yeah.
But they still have an impact on you.
True, and I'm not downplaying.
Come on, bro. You're like Harry Potter in this bitch. What do you mean?
Oof, no,
No,
thank you.
so I think with Goron, where Goron is really going to have his connections flourish, just haven't happened yet.
That's true too.
Some of them have, right? Like our interaction with the captain on the other ship.
Oh yeah, that was.
He knew
fun.
who you were, right?
Well, he knew who my mom.
you name dropped Stormclaw, and they were like, "Oh, okay."
Carry on. Yeah.
So like
Yeah.
keep that in mind. We're just not in that area of the story yet.
No, and that's true. And again, I'm not
And
trying to
like,
complain or downplay anything at all. It's just I've noticed that I tend to make characters that, like Dogan, for instance, right? It's just a guy. He's had a tough life, but like a good amount of it was honestly self-inflicted. I'm not going to get into that any further here.
that'll come out later on Tales of Evolved.
Sure will. Keep watching. Some of it's been hinted at, so I'm excited to see if anybody delves into it more. And like again with Goron, like yeah, he's his area hasn't. We haven't gotten there to that act of the story yet.
And you're not really in an area like, how do I want to put this? Things are gonna come out that are really gonna kind of twist the screws for Goron a little bit.
Yeah.
You know?
And I definitely think Les also lies kind of in a similar spot as Goron.
Yeah.
Just because they are kind of their backgrounds are very far connected.
There's a
and
lot of parallels between the two of us.
Where I like my big connection to the story really is the fact that I've read stories about the weapons, but outside of that, it's really just I'm a dude trying to find my girlfriend because these fuckers stole me. Like it's just stuff that happened around me as well. But yeah. So I definitely understand that. But I think just what we bring as like just world building wise, what our characters brought to the world says a lot. Because that, I mean, not for nothing, the way we built characters, lore is built around our characters, and the world in a sense is how Spaz builds.
Yeah.
And the Grove, I mean, like the Grove of stories and then the Grove you come from just show like such a fun part of this world of places that are like, these are things that we can go see like that. And I absolutely love the thought of that. And I think even now recently, more stuff is coming up with your master. Like we just had some of that stuff with that. Like
I don't think it's been released yet.
Yeah, that released Wednesday.
That was,
Oh,
that
did
was
it?
the
Yeah,
one
with
that was
Miser.
really,
that was the last episode
Redwood.
that released.
Okay.
So I think I'm personally like re-editing that. I was like, I don't think I clocked it as much in the episode just being like the end of it. Like I was like, came back, I was like, wait, that's low. The trees be talking.
No,
the trees
that was
No,
extremely clutch to dodge that situation. Like, so like we rolled right, and we got an encounter, and I don't know that there could have been a perfect encounter for us to deal with. You know, and I kind of think about like the whole interaction. I'm like, fuck, like why, like Koree, why did you let him like fucking cut bark off of the tree if you knew that was going to be an abhorrent? And then I think about the fact that we rolled for it. That was random, and so then you just came up with it by the seat of your fucking pants, and then for Goron to just like casually like name drop Miser in there, and they were like, wait a minute. All right. And so again, we go back to, we have been presented with this encounter, and Goron has stepped in to say something and completely abolished that encounter from going south.
And it happened to be the one thing that worked, yeah.
And I mean, so not all of my encounters are like, I don't do random encounters that don't have at least a little bit of story implications. Okay? That at least don't tie in somewhere. Because to me, dying because you ran into a bunch of wolves kind of sucks.
Yeah.
If you fuck with a circle of a Borin after one of your PCs was literally taught magic by a Borin, and obviously, like, Goron talked his way out of that, right? That encounter is not scrubbed from the table because they travel.
Yeah.
Right? Like, there was a chance before that where he said, I don't want to see you again. If I see you again, we will fight. In essence. Right?
Yeah.
I
It's
don't
on
want
site.
to see you again.
And it's no longer on site from a matter of that. Like it's crazy. Especially, I mean, we were looking in these fucking woods for a bunch of bullshit like that. Something like that, having that, just stopping that is crazy. And that's brought so much to the table.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's almost like a lack of big, super traumatic. Like, you obviously had that one big thing, but that is why Goran is the way he is. And Goran has literally, we were like right here on the edge of bullshit so much. And Goran's like, all right, guys, come on.
Okay, we're going away from the edge of the cliff. Away from the edge of the cliff. I know it's a very pretty view. Let's go over here now.
Put that fire out! Put the fire out!
You know, it was great, right? So, like, while you say you make everyman kind of characters, you also have a very deep connection with them and understand them.
Thank you.
And have some of the best voice work on Tales of Art.
Yes.
I appreciate you saying.
Just straight up, this is how I can look at the waveform. Again, we all know me and Cobi edit. We can look at the waveform, and I know when Adam's talking, I know when Goron's talking, and I know when Doggin's talking. Just by the way the wave is.
That's funny.
Okay.
And I know all your guys' ums by fucking vision. I can spot those shits out like a fucking hawk. I'm like, that's an that's an that's an ding, ding, ding.
That's funny.
That was
Alright,
very funny.
so, kind of talking about the Demon Hunter group. Did the players know beforehand that they would be fighting demons when they made their second characters?
I did.
I did not, which is a large reason I made a joke named character who just punches stuff.
And it was like taking silver from a baby.
Go ahead, Joey.
Through building my character, I feel like I accidentally brought a demon to the town, truthfully. I know it was probably pre-planned, but just it worked so well with the question. I was like, hey, would this work for my character build? And Spaz was like, I feel like Spaz was just there like, oh yeah, it was. You're working right into my hands. Cause I was like, hey, would it be cool if I was from like an order of like demon hunters who like, build weapons? And he was like, so you're in this town for this reason. Just like instantly, I was like, oh fuck, what did I do?
So, okay, the demon was always there. The demon was always there. The only person that knew the demon was there, while they were making their character, and it was after I had looked at him and said, before I continue talking, you need to cement the decision to be a Dampier right now.
And then
Because I have a way to turn you into a Dampier. But if you don't do it, I'm going to be pissed. Before I keep talking.
Yeah, we legitimately, because he basically helped me build the character from the ground up. I had a concept I wanted to go with, and he helped me get there. And so it was very much a look, if this is what you're going to do, this is going to be what you're going to do, or we're gonna have problems.
I mean, y'all know me pretty well. I'm relatively super easygoing with a lot of things, right?
That is true.
But when it comes to story beats and stuff like that, when some of you get nuggets of things that will be coming, I am super protective of them. Okay, because I mean, again, I've said it before. I'll say it again. I spend so much of my day just daydreaming shit to put you guys through. And like 90% of it gets scrapped because it's like, no, that doesn't really fit. Or, hey, this could be a good idea. And then I go to type it up and I'm like, hey, it doesn't quite work the way I was hoping it would, or whatever.
Yeah.
But when I have things typed out and they're solid, I don't want that. If he would have went, hey guys, there's a fucking demon coming, which is why in the why he was having such a problem during talking to Shiro about the orphanage.
The orphanage.
Oh god, that was so funny.
Dude,
you were so mad.
So none of the listeners would know this because it's all been scrapped out during editing.
Yeah.
There was conversations that Larissa had with people, and Yusuri was having a conversation with Shiro about him being from the orphanage and the things he does for the orphanage. As a player, I already knew the super dark, shady side of the orphanage. And I was so upset because I could not express any of this information. I mean, I was literally motherfucking Koree up and down because he made me promise not to say anything to anybody, and I held it in. I uphold what he wanted to. And when we finally dropped the knowledge bomb of Philly being evil and fighting her and the demon being in the orphanage and all of that, when that episode was done, I was like, I mean, there was explicitories left and right of it finally happened. Thank God I can let this all out. Fuck you, Koree. Fuck you for making me hide this for weeks and weeks. Because we record every other week. Well, we all talk every day. Right? Whether if it's not in Discord, because we play games on the side and stuff like that, we're always messaging back and forth, and it was so demoralizing to hold this information in for weeks. It was so relieving to finally get to talk about it, and then to come full circle and be like, I have been waiting weeks to say this. It was great.
Yeah.
It was about a month he had to wait.
I absolutely love that. I didn't have it as bad as you. I had more of an anxiety because I didn't know it was coming. I just knew bad shit was coming. It was like, yeah, my guild, like, we fight strong demons and stuff. He's like, yeah, that'd be cool. And he's like, yeah, you're here for a mission, a big mission. I was like, wait, no, I just wanted to be from a cool guild. Wait, stop it. I don't want all this now. And then soon as everything started like aligning, I was like, this is gonna be crazy. And it actually leads back to a golden president of like future interactions. I cannot wait for Shiro and Larissa to have that sit down as well. That is gonna be
Dude, that's gonna be a good sit down.
Oh, that's gonna be so.
Here's the thing. Shiro would have left the orphanage while Larissa was still there.
That's interesting.
Like they would have been there in the orphanage together.
And he's gonna know who Grifton is. He's gonna know who Tyberos is.
Like,
He's going to know who we are, and he's gonna have seen us as little kids. And now, what two of them? Well, I guess what all three of us have become.
Yeah.
He probably hasn't, because as soon as the thing happened with Larissa, she basically just became a street urchin and like lived in the shadows of the city.
So what Millie did.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And then, through that, she kind of, struggled with, what she's become and how to deal with her newfound powers until she figured out how to develop them. There's been a little bit of decision making as far as like how she came across getting Grifton. Because
Yeah.
Grifton is from the orphanage. So, and well, obviously Grifton is a skeleton. So there's
Right.
there's something to be said there. And so, yeah, I mean,
think Dogan's the only other one who knows still, though,
Yeah.
no, I think
that
everybody.
he's a skeleton.
No.
I don't think so.
No.
I'm pretty sure the
Oh,
secret's been
yeah, I
maintained.
guess as far as players go, everybody knows.
But
But
character-wise,
not character-wise, yeah, I guess it is Dogan.
Yeah, Smith does not care enough at this moment. He's in trauma mode right now. He's not paying attention to the fucking what's under the armor.
yeah.
All right.
And so on. All right, go ahead. Never mind.
We got like 4 more questions to get through. All right.
I'll edit down some answers.
And a couple of them, one of them I'm thinking in particular is gonna be, I can say it'll be hard for you to decide, easy for you to decide, hard for you to decide, and I'll talk at length for it. My first question, I actually am curious about it, and it was actually a listener question also. Why hasn't the original group messaged Zephyr on the bracelet that they're out of jail and working for the guy?
Well,
Maybe you should listen to the episode again.
Maybe you should catch up. Maybe no. In the most recent episode, that problem has been addressed.
Yep.
I won't say how or more than that, but
We quite literally did. I'm
Yeah.
just gonna say that. Go listen again. We did. And if some of the listeners didn't catch it, that means Tom and Jerry didn't get it either.
oh my god. Listening to that joke again on editing, it was even more infuriating the second time.
I am not mad at my response to that. And when I knew it was coming, I listen when I drive, right? When I was driving, I said it at the exact same time that I said it in the podcast of get the fuck out. And I'm not mad about it.
All right.
Next one.
So another one we've got. Do you have an awareness of the audience while you're playing? And if you do, how does it affect how you play? Does it affect how you play?
I'll
talk.
I try not to keep it in mind in a way where it'll affect the decisions I make. Like to an extent of like, I'm not going to do the thing that I think will be best for the podcast, right? I make the decisions that make the most sense for the characters and that make the most sense for the story. And I try not to make a boring decision because that's not fun, but like I'm not doing it specifically to make a more quote unquote entertaining show. It's just the fun thing to do. Like with going on, I try and focus more on like, what the right thing might be, or like what somebody like him who is, I guess for a lack of better word, good would do, right? Like trying to de-escalate situations, trying to keep everything peaceful and content and stuff. But like he's also not going to be the stick in the mud, boring, like, we can't do that, you guys, that's bad. Like with the pivotal chair scene, he walked in at the end, sort of saw what the aftermath, and I believe he said, I don't know what happened, I don't want to know what happened, and he walked out. And then he immediately had an interaction with the mayor where he told her she doesn't listen to people, and he took his turtle away.
Goron's problem with authority is amazing.
It's not even like an overt thing. It's just if he thinks somebody is not an empathetic or good person, he will tell them. He's not gonna do anything. Like he's not gonna fight somebody over it. But like they need to know where they are. Like he also didn't know that was the mayor or any of the things that she has done. He just thought that was some random rich lady that wanted to buy a floating tortoise, and he told her she needed to leave him alone.
Also, for what it's worth, the when Goron walked into the bar and saw what happened, you asked what happened, and my response was, "You don't need to know the answer to that." To which you were like, "Okay, I
That's
understand,"
right. Yeah.
and
That's
turned
right.
around and promptly
Yep.
walked out of the bar.
Yep.
Which I feel like was a pivotal moment for Goron, because now he's been around Usuri long enough to know Usuri is extremely morally ambiguous.
Yeah.
And
But instead of
like,
trying to force you not to, because that wouldn't work, and Goron's aware of that. It's like, all right, you're gonna do your thing. You are still helping and on our side, and Goron thinks you are a good person. It's just you've been dealt a bad hand, and you're doing your best.
Yeah.
Sorry, I did not mean to interrupt.
no, that was also like that was a good PC to PC interaction to me. Like that's like for me that was pivotal character development for Goron, because I feel like now you figured out that like because that was Usuri telling Goron, "You don't want to know this because I don't want to make you an accessory to
Right.
murder."
If I answer that question, you're a part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Like I think yeah, go ahead.
Do you want to answer the question, Joey?
Yes, I do have an awareness that there is an audience. Some of the decisions I do make, I have, because I have an idea of what kind of content I want to produce as a character, influences the characters I make rather than the actions I take with them, because the actions I take with them are actions they would take as a character, with the influence of the characters built to be able to provide something for the audience.
Yeah. That's
Okay.
what I did with Dogen.
Cobi.
I'm on the other end, I gotta say. I be doing shit for the podcast quite often. I think part of that does also stem with like Joey, like building a character. Like Les, I built him to be a spectacle, like where he comes from and stuff. While it is like some inspiration from my own, he is built to be a spectacle and be a part of the show. Like he wants to be front and center. And I think part of that comes from just like, me, I came from theater and I make stuff to entertain people. So why I built him to do these entertaining things, I definitely have moments where like I am gonna pick out a certain NPC and start arguing with it for the podcast sometimes, and it also sometimes will cut the bit short because I'm like, oh, I don't want to run long right now because there's other people that are in this show with me. Where if I was at a session at a table, I might be like, nah, Les is gonna have his moment here a little bit longer, and I'm gonna savor it and shine in it. But now, because it's not so much. This is more like, let's not say more collaborative, but a different type of collaborative where I'm trying to make everybody shine for a camera in a sense where I'm not just trying to make myself shine to feel good about my character.
Okay, for me, my awareness of the audience comes before I even get on the call. It actually comes out the most in my prep. Because if I'm prepping for a home game, I just have to entertain the people that are playing. But once we get on the call, I tend to flip that awareness off. And when I flip that awareness off, my stop. So the penultimate question is going to be, what is a piece of roleplay that you've done, that you were a part of, that you are particularly proud of?
I feel like we've kind of answered this one. Yeah. There is the moment at the end of the last B Team episode, after everything, when Dogen sat down with Smith for a minute and talked to him a little bit about losing things, I worry that it didn't carry over. Dogen hasn't like lost people like they've died, is what he wasn't talking about that so much as just losing people in your life, like people no longer being around. Again, his ex-wife is what is the thing, because that's the whole fight that was on his mind, truly through no effort of his own. And so that's kind of sitting heavy on him, which, like, it's always there.
Mhm.
I don't want to get too into it because I know we'll get into it throughout the episodes. But that little bit of connection of, like, loss is hard and it never goes away and it never gets smaller. You just get used to dealing with it, I think was very fun. And very different for Dogen up until then, who was very nonchalant and sort of flippant with everything that happened up until then. That little switch was fun.
I absolutely adored that moment because role playing that moment myself, I couldn't bring the emotion out of Smith alone in that. So having you come step over really like allowed me to, you giving me the outlet to like give Smith a solid like place to put his feelings, why they weren't really broadly shown, but enough to be like that little camaraderie afterwards and stuff. Like I absolutely adore it. And truthfully, it's funny that you say that because one of my favorite moments stems from another one of our conversations on the other side of it. It was a group conversation, but the conversation about Maple.
Yes, dude.
That
I
was-
feel like we haven't fully gotten into that either.
I truly one of the few times on the podcast where I was tearing up doing a moment like during a scene like that.
Yeah,
That was a really good emotional scene, and then the after scene of like just all of us together in the bar there talking about things like that was a great interaction altogether. I absolutely adored.
Yeah, that was
Other than the notorious chair scene.
How did you know? That's what I was
You
thinking.
only mentioned it like 3 times during
I think
this.
honestly, it's like 5 mentions.
It
It's
was
got
also
more
mentioned in
mentions.
the last Luscious Tales too, I
It was
think.
such a good
think
moment.
so. It really was.
So
This is Tales of Tales, not Luscious Tales.
yeah. So one of the first things that comes to mind is the interaction after Luna dealt with her cousin. When she goes
Yeah.
downstairs, has a conversation with him, comes upstairs, and Yusuri noticing the issue there and like seeing this badass woman, this absolute killer, this monstrosity of
Unchanging.
yes, absolutely.
Yami mommy.
Nope.
Absolutely. Nope. No, he's right. He's right. He's 100% right. But seeing her broken, seeing her like tearing up and just kind of ignoring everybody and giving him that opportunity to go and talk to her about it. And then it wasn't a long role play, but it was enough to solidify their connection. And her, him being able to reinforce the idea of we're going to fix this. Now, they don't have the opportunity to do that yet, and I hope that doesn't become a problem in the future. Wink. But with that being said, I really liked the way that RP turned out because one, I mean, I think we talked about it in the last Luscious Tales, the creation of Luna is so, to go back to the last question too, the creation of Luna is for the benefit of the podcast. I mean, it really is. It's to add a romantic element to a character who has never had that, who has lost his family, and is Luna is his saving grace, really. And
Honestly, the saving grace is Luna, Millie, and Matt.
Yeah, I was gonna say Millie and Matt very much so too.
But my point is that Luna was created for that purpose. You added Millie and Matt in there without my knowledge. Like, you and I planned Luna together.
Yeah.
And so being able to get that role play in, and then being able to kind of solidify the foundation for that was one of my highlight role play moments.
Yeah, I have so many fun moments. I mean, I said earlier, one of my favorite things to do is to give you guys a scene that really like lights a fire under two of you and just let you guys go for a little bit. And it's always created such great moments every time I've done it. That like again, like I don't know if I've fully talked about it, but Tales of Yavard is about finding your family. Whether that is your chosen family, your found family, or your actual family. So anytime that I can drive interactions in that family, I love them all. I love Millie pickpocketing the guard.
Mm-hmm.
I love Millie throwing the knife at the fucking plank as you guys were walking up it.
Millie falling down it.
Yep. Eating shit on the deck of the ship.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Millie is probably up there for his like favorite NPC brought in. I just have to say it. Like
Klaus in the spoiler chat said verbatim, "I am convinced that Tales of Yvard is just Millie's backstory told from the perspective of the active party."
Yes, absolutely.
I've never agreed to something so much before.
and like
Oh,
this
good.
was before, like when Klaus said that, it was before everything with that happened with the demon slaying team.
Mm-hmm.
And like I don't every time someone's rolled for it, it's been absolute dog shit. Sorry, Jesse, you're not here to defend your rolls, but they were bad. Right? So like I've never actually said it, but Philly is Millie's mom.
Yeah.
You know. And like, yeah, technically there was a story there. But
Doesn't matter
that
now.
was a story that wasn't gonna happen without Millie or Matt showing up.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I will also say, if Yusuri hadn't adopted them, Goron would have.
Right.
Absolutely would have brought them on the ship, 100%.
But like, so it's one of those things of like, even if that story is never told about why Philly runs an orphanage, but abandoned her children on a completely different island, like at the moment, I don't think there's a way for that story to be told because she's dead.
Yep.
Unless there is a chance that it could be told, but
we ain't gonna talk about that though.
it would be very funny.
We ain't gonna talk about that though.
I'm not speaking it into existence, so
no, but there is some potentials for it to happen. And there's a certain PC who may or may not do her or his absolute best to make sure some of this information we're speaking about now never reaches some of the people that she doesn't even know yet.
Right. You know, and it's like the RP that I'm most proud of is never any time that I'm speaking. Because like, yes, I know that like I hated Bert's sermon. I
Oh my
hated
God.
it.
That's right.
So,
I was
so bad speaking.
I was so
Adam
tempted
was
to
checked
let it.
out.
I was so tempted to let it go on for a while. I was angry. Goran was absolutely fucking done with this dude. Like 2 seconds in, he's like, "Okay, no, this guy needs to go."
Like, I was digging
sleeping.
into that. Yeah, yeah. It was so bad that Cobi checked the fuck out
And fell asleep
and fell
on
asleep.
camera.
But, like full on, it was good because it drove home who that character was.
Yeah.
But I hated it. I hated every word that came out of my mouth.
Yeah, for sure, dude.
Did it feel good to watch you all just curb stomp him? Absolutely.
Dude, I'm still mad that Lesh's first kill ended up being a fucking clay doll.
So funny.
I'm still hyped at the clutch interaction with the potion of fortitude.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Without knowing, like as a player, I didn't know what it did. Right? I knew what it did. I knew that it boosted my fortitude. But I didn't know going into that fight what I would be looking at. I made a connection that, okay, he's a priest or a cleric of some kind. I'm going to assume he may have magic that will target fortitude. Let me pop this potion, and boy, did it come in clutch by one number.
Yes, it did.
One number made all the difference. And I love that that was the first time that happened, but it happened again with Larissa. The way that I like not knowing a demon was going to target, obviously there was going to be some kind of
dude.
fear mechanic or something was
God.
going to happen
That
there.
was so funny.
And when I saw Drum of the War Gods, I was like, this is probably going to be at least decent, right? This is probably a good thing for me to take. Little did I know that was going to piss Koree off so much. Because if I'm not mistaken, 3 out of the 4 things on that list were not going to work because of Drum of the War Gods. Completely unplanned, not talked about, pure assumption, and it absolutely just tore Koree to bits during that fight.
Between that and then also locking him down.
Oh, I didn't even realize that happened completely by accident.
Yeah.
Being able to use the grasp and censure, every time that I hit with censure was pure luck because Grifton was using that with a -2 because his charisma is -2. So the fact that I could hit with those and continue it going was just the dice telling stories.
Yeah. No, it was great. Like I talked about it before. I like to challenge, right? Like there needs to be stakes, so I need to challenge you all. But I love it when you guys overcome a challenge. I like the fact that I got enough turns in to use Vicious Call on everyone at least one time.
That sucked.
That was
my
great.
God.
From a role plays. From a
100%.
I loved that idea.
That was amazing. I was very excited for Dogen to be under its control for a little bit, and then we killed it. So he did not get to immediately. So he did not get to beat Smith up at all, but that's okay.
I was gonna say, I'm glad you didn't start beating him up, because in the rage of seeing my master explode, combat would have not ended when the demon died.
3 episodes into the new characters. All right, Adam, roll a new one. So
or Smith, I could have won.
Don't forget, I was hasted, and
I could have done it.
So as a player,
As soon as Smith dropped to 0, as soon as Dogan gets a turn, he was making like 9 attacks a fucking turn. Like, it was gonna be death by 1,000 cuts for sure. But so the last question, and it's a question I think may show up frequently because it showed up last time as well. How are you all so awesome?
it's a tough question to answer. And I think it just goes back to it's just life, right? Like just everything coming together the way it did. Me knowing Koree, us pitching this idea back and forth, and then just like having, you know, the Mythcraft and homebrew community to find Cobi, Jesse, and Adam at random. I didn't know Cobi, Jesse, or Adam prior to session 0. Never talked to them, never met them, never interacted with them. And there was just a immediate connection and bond. And like it's just so natural. So to answer the question, that natural bond and just everything coming together like a puzzle piece, like the last piece of a puzzle, is I think what makes our group so awesome.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't think I could have said it better myself.
I was gonna say, I might just leave it at that for the answer to that question because I think it encapsulates everything quite well. And I think that's where we're gonna end this episode.
Thank you for coming and asking the amazing questions. You guys are great fans. I love you all so very much.
Absolutely. I hope everybody had a great holiday, a great Christmas, and a great New Year. I hope everybody continues listening going forward. We are back from hiatus, and we will be continuing producing episodes from here on out. And we are at the start of a new year, and I can probably speak for everybody, including Jesse, who was absent tonight, that we are 100%, 110%, maybe even an infinity amount of excited to see what this year has in store for the story, for the audience, and for what the group comes up with.
Because, like, in all honesty, this last year has been amazing. Like, I did not expect half the opportunities that we got.
It's been a wild first year. It's been crazy.
Wild first year. And I all I have to say is thank you guys for listening. Like, so many things are coming down the line. And like the best place to find it is definitely the Discord. If you're listening and you're not a member of the Discord, please go to the link tree, click that Discord link. If it's not working, go ahead and email us at talesofyou've@gmail.com so we can fix it. But full on, join the Discord. It's the easiest way to find us and to see the other things that we do outside of just the podcast, because there's a lot that we do outside as well.
And come help us plan to ruin Spaz's day as our MC.
Well, on top of that, you can also help us plan, stuff like the next Luscious Tale we do. There's floating out there are 3 other quests, air quotes, for us to go on. The last one we chose was a decision made by the viewers. There was a public poll for everybody to decide on, and that's what we played, and that's what we recorded. So if you really like that, and you want to, if you want to have some impact on that, come join us on Discord. Plus, we're all active. We all, we all talk. We all joke around. may or may not bombard you, and by we I mean Corey will bombard you with questions when you first join and say hi.
Everyone's in it too.
Yeah, we
I
all
don't
do
ask
it. We
him
all
what I
do
live
it.
for him.
Yeah, we all strive to know what the answer to these questions are. But yeah, I mean, it's an ever growing Discord, and I'm really excited to. I know I said it, and I'm going to say it again. I'm just excited to see what this year has in store. It's going to be a good year.